Neck-throughs, guitars, they're like a guy that you won't have a beer with you.
I want to hear what's pushing the notes.
Freddie King and B.B. King, Albert King, and let's not forget Burger King.
I don't want to blow my knuckle out.
Stainless steel is the work of the devil.
These go to 11.
From the East Amplification Tone Labs in Baltimore, Maryland, it's the Amps and Axes Show. With your hosts, Jeff the Godfather of Low Wattage Amps Bober and Mick Marcelino.
Well, good day to you, Mr. Bober.
Good day to you, Mr. Marcelino. How be you?
Oh, it's a good one today, brother.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And speaking of a good day, we got our fans to thank. You guys are definitely always kicking it out of the park. Can't thank you enough, man.
That's right. And, you know, we couldn't do it without you.
That's right.
We're not here just for us. We're here for you, so we couldn't do that.
Yeah, these lights are hard to keep on just for me and you, Jeff.
That's right. That's right.
And make sure, though, when you do spread the word, what you guys have been doing, tell your friends, tell them that when you hear things, man, you heard it here first because, you know.
You probably did.
That's right.
You probably did. And hopefully we'll bring you another first today.
Oh, I know we will.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
This is you know, somebody that's played with an iconic band for quite a while. And, you know, we'll find out is a little bit responsible for like a little kind of hit there and, you know, wound up being in one of the largest touring acts of its time. You know, second to You'll Find Out.
Yes.
But, yeah, so we're gonna take a pause for the cause. We're gonna come back with. Well, let me just tease this. Yeah, we're gonna come back with guitarist for the Stone City Band, Mr. Tom McDermott.
Nick Schneblin here, and you are listening to Amps and Axes.
Okay, and listeners, we are back as promised with our guest of the week. Somebody that's, you know, that's been a part of something that I consider iconic, and you probably will too. So let's get into it with the guitarist that, you know, has done some probably memorable licks in the past with a little band called Stone City. So please welcome Mr. Tom McDermott. Tom, how are you?
Great. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, thanks for being on, man. This is very cool.
I love the show. Love the show. I listen to it all the time.
Oh, look at that.
Nice.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah.
See, that's why he was the first take on the
yeah.
You know, he knows.
Right, I've been practicing.
Well,
right.
Tom, if you're a listener, then you know what we're going to do next, and we're going to take a trip in the Wayback Machine and find out where Mr. Tom McDermott was born and raised, and what got you into this crazy, wonderful world of music. So let's hear a little about Tom.
All right. Well, I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And my dad was in the service. We kind of bounced around, and we wound up in California when I was about 9. And basically was raised out there, Burbank. And got into music listening, you know, as all kids do, you know, 9, 10, 11. And I was kind of a late bloomer getting into music as far as playing guitar. Probably about 15 or 16. I started a little bit late. And as opposed to listening to rock, I came across Wes Montgomery, of all people. And the sound of that guitar just really flipped me out, you know. And it was kind of a cool thing because he was playing octaves, and octaves I found sort of easy to begin with, you know. So, yeah,
That's really interesting. You moved to California. Was there a reason you guys moved out there?
Yeah, my dad was in the service, and he retired.
So it was military related.
Yeah, it was military. Okay. So
was he or your mom or anybody musical in the family?
No, I was the alien sperm cell, So.
Wow, I got turned on by Wes Montgomery. That's very cool.
Yeah, it was. I did like the Who and the Beatles and the Stones were one of my favorite bands, but as far as starting to get to play guitar, Wes Montgomery was the man for me. Then you go out to Joe Pass, and then I was taking lessons. Started with the Mel Bay books, and going through that and doing some private lessons, and just trying to get better. As a guitar player, I was always playing, always practicing.
Did you start with an electric or an acoustic?
I started with an electric. My first guitar was a Ventura. It was a copy of like a ES-175, and I thought I was like top shit on that one, because it looked so cool, and it was just so awesome. It was a jazz type of guitar, and and then after I upgraded to a ES-125 Gibson, and I got that for a while too.
Very cool. So, did you look into anybody else that was playing that style guitar? I mean, did you wind up finding Yes because of that guitar, or?
No, it was basically because of the jazz stuff.
Okay.
Joe Pass, Herb Ellis, like I said, Wes, and the jazz players.
So you were pretty heavy into jazz early on.
I was. Then I found you really couldn't make a living doing that, and that's when I started. Well, you really can't make a living doing music, period. But I started listening to Top 40, and I went to college, got into a band, and a Top 40 band, and found out, wow, this is pretty cool. We could play clubs and make some money, So we did that. We went on the road and just playing Top 40 gigs. And it was a lot easier back then because economically you could make $200 a week and live, pay your rent, and and all the necessities you had.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there were a lot more venues to play, and sometimes there were multiple nights in the same venue.
Right. Definitely the club scene was pretty happening in the late 70s, so eventually I was doing a lot of Top 40 bands. Then I kind of upgraded. I went on the road with Little Anthony. He was doing like a comeback thing. Oh, cool. And that was kind of a cool gig. Yeah, it was cool. We would go out of town for the weekend, play about 3 or 4 shows a weekend, and come back and do the same thing. So that was pretty cool. I thought it was, getting them to the big leagues, as it were. Mm-hmm. But then I eventually got fired from that gig because we were on a break one time, and I filed for unemployment. And he called me. He goes, "What the fuck are you doing? I don't pay into unemployment."
Man, right?
Yeah. It's like, dude, I didn't know that, So he says, "Yeah, I think we'll have to call it a day." I said, "Okay, whatever, So then I just got with another Top 40 band, just continue to play and make a living, and just continue to practice and take lessons. I took lessons from like Ted Green, some other jazz players, and just listen to records and did all that ear training thing, picking up stuff off of records, learning a lot of different styles, trying to.
Well, the more diverse you are, the more gigs you can say yes to.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
That's what a professional musician does. They don't just play what they like; they play what's going to keep them employed.
Right, exactly. And doing the top 40 thing, you were really, you really needed to be somewhat diverse, as funk and maybe a little bit of country and rock and roll and stuff like that, which was really a good thing. I mean, today it's too bad. Like kids like my son, they don't have that venue to go out to a club and to play and get better, unlike I did back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, you could learn so much and absorb so much and be so good, but then it's time to get out there and play, and that's when you, I think, start to get really good in honing your craft and playing with others. Because you could sit at home and play all you want.
Oh yeah,
exactly. Yeah, you can be the baddest dude on YouTube in your house, but you really need to get out and play. I mean, that was one of the really good things that happened to me. I was able to stuck and play and get paid at the same time.
Cool.
But, yeah, it was definitely cool.
I
just kept doing top 40. Go ahead.
What was your let's pick like the Little Anthony tour. What was your rig like back then? What were you playing?
God, I think it was like a trainer. Remember
Okay.
those?
Sure.
Yeah, it was like a Canadian amp or something like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah, something like that, like maybe a 212 combo or something, and obviously no pedals. Yeah, that was pretty much it. Really, really very basic.
And your Gibson, your 125?
Oh no, I got rid of that. I think I went to a 335.
Ah.
Yeah, 335. I went to that, and yeah, it was it was cool. And then I worked with Fabian. He had a little thing going for a while, and just kept doing top 40 after top 40 and original bands. And I had a rehearsal band. I would like write out charts for everybody, and just it was all about music all the time. For me, growing up.
Now, what do you mean by rehearsal band?
Oh, when you get cats together, you give them charts and you play through tunes. Just to rehearse, just to blow, to read.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe if like an artist, like a Fabian or somebody called you up and said, "Hey, I want to put something together. I want to do some touring. Can you get some guys together?" Maybe that's the stable of guys that you already have in place. That okay, we're going to go tour with Fabian now.
Oh no, these were like jazz tunes, like I don't know, maybe something like weather report stuff. Just to get together and have fun, and blow and just get better, because
just keep the chops up.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about,
Very cool. So, I guess you kind of at some point, if you play out enough and you play with enough people, you kind of get. Your name is in the circle, and it winds up on some lists of people to call. So how did you go from there to getting hooked up with the guys in the Stone City band and it totally for the Rick thing? How did that transpire?
I was in another top 40 band, and the keyboard player, his wife, Lisa, was one of the background singers. And they had a guy named Alan Sims that had started with Rick, and then I guess he didn't want to pursue it anymore or whatever. And then she said, "Yeah, Rick's looking for a guitar player. Are you in?" I said, "Yeah, we go check it out." So I went down and played, and kind of like the rest was history. It was kind of like got
now, were you still in California at that point?
Yeah, in California. That was in LA. They had moved from Buffalo to rent a house and start rehearsing for the tour, and so that's when I got the call. So.
Oh.
And what year was that? Just
it was around the turn of the century, probably like 79 or something like that.
So that was that was at the height, right? Because 79. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, 78, 79.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
huge.
78, 79, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
man.
and then did the tour, and then we did the Fire It Up album after that, and then did that tour. It was like everything was like album, rehearsal for the tour, and then the tour. You know, it was like a thing every year that seemed to go on like that, which was kind of cool. And we did the Mary Jane Girls. You know.
Good God, you were there
TV
at the height of
shows.
that stuff, man. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, you know, definitely a lot of fun, you know, getting to meet a lot of people and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I imagine that tour was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. There was definitely some crazy times, you know.
Oh, for sure.
I've seen Chappelle. I've seen.
Oh, really?
I've seen the Dave Chappelle stuff, and if Eddie, if Charlie Murphy is anything, if an ounce of that is true, it had to be some crazy times, man.
It was definitely right on point, you know, with some of that stuff, you know.
I've seen Rick, and he was on point. I don't know, Tom. I don't know if you were with the tour, and this would have been somewhere around that time. I had seen you. Well, I didn't have a lot of time to see the show. I was working hospitalities for the production company that brought bands into the Baltimore Civic Center all the time. Yeah. And it had to be around that time that you guys came through. At least I think it was. Were you on the tour where, and this is one of my favorite passes that I have from all my time doing this kind of stuff. Were you on the tour where the special guest star, the opening act, was Prince?
Yes, I was definitely on that tour. Yeah, I've done all his tours, you know. Yeah, that was pretty wild, you know. He hated Prince. I thought Prince was really a nice guy. We would talk, you know, and listen to the opening bands, and he was just a really cool guy, down to earth and stuff like that. And there was just this competition with him and Rick. They, you know, Prince tried to, you know, give out his hand, you know, and be nice to him, but Rick, he just, I don't know, it's just a fierce competition or something. I don't know, you know.
I mean, I guess anybody would consider Prince fierce competition, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Especially then, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, at that time, and a lot of our listeners may not know this, but, you know, that band was the biggest thing out there. I mean, in that genre of music. And
Rick James?
Yeah. And Rick could walk on water. I mean, that guy, you know, he dominated a room when he came into it. And it just, I could totally see that, you know, even though, you know, you know Prince, or you knew Prince, and he was a nice guy. It looked like Rick was really, really hungry back in those days, man. Like it was.
You know, who is this guy? I own this stage.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't dig the thing, you know, where he came out in his underwear or whatever. And yeah, it was definitely a competition thing, you know. But cool. Definitely a lot of fun on those tours, you know, but I'll never forget one time. I mean, this is where it started going downhill, I guess, when we had like 4 days off, and this is when he started doing the crack pipe. I don't want to say anything too bad, but, you know, his drug addiction started getting to him, you know, and he was real out of it. We were going to do a Thursday in South Carolina, I think it was, something like that, and we went on. And they were saying, well, Rick's not feeling real good, you know, because I guess he'd been up like 3 or 4 days in a row, you know. And yeah, it was sad, you know, to see that happen. But anyway, he came out on stage, and we did like 3 tunes. Then I did my guitar solo. Then he came back out, and we started this ballad, and he just passed out on stage. And we were all looking at each other like, what the fuck happened? You know.
Wow. And
they rushed to carry him off, you know. Meanwhile, the house lights go on, and the they said, everybody get off stage, drummer do a drum solo, and we're all, it was crazy, man. It was absolutely crazy. All the people were booing, and I don't know if there was a riot, but there was a lot of crazy shit that went on back then.
You didn't stick around to find out if there was a riot, huh?
No, I hopped in the limo and I got my guitar. And the funny thing is, after that, they confiscated our gear. I guess the promoter, there was some sort of legal hassle that happened, and they impounded our gear.
Wow.
And for the next show, we had to rent gear. I didn't have a guitar because I didn't take it with me because I ran off stage. And we had to go out and buy stuff. And then my roadie at the time said, "Hey, man, why don't you have somebody make a guitar for you?" And so this guy put together Mighty Mite parts.
I remember that.
That's where I said, "Hey, yeah." And that's where I said, "Hey, man, make me something like an Eddie Van Halen striped guitar, with a Floyd Rose." And so I got it, and I'd play that for a while, and it was just nothing but a bunch of parts. But I thought about making my own guitar and maybe trying to sell it. And that's when I ran into Grover Jackson. I said, I can't compete with this guy, And so I started playing his guitars, and
How long?
the best.
How long ago was that?
That was like in 81, I think.
Oh my God, you've known Grover that long?
Yeah.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what were you playing up until the Mighty Mite? Was that still the 335 with Rick James?
Yeah, it was, and I think I had a Strat too.
Cool.
And a Les Paul or something like that. But but once I started playing Grover's guitars, I was like, oh man, these are unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah,
what was your go ahead, Mick.
I was just going to say that was the that's when him and Wayne Charvel merged, right? Or was it a little bit later than 81?
I think it might have been a little bit later than 81.
Yeah.
Because I think so. Or probably just right after that,
Yeah, they were the two hot rodders, man. They were the guys that were hot rodding guitars when nobody was doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I remember I went down to shoot an ad for Charvel, and it was like Steve Vai and all these other players,
Sure.
It was like, wow. It was like, look at all these cats, It's like all these monsters in the same room with me,
Yeah, but you played for Rick James. And see, right there, that carries more weight than anything.
Yeah, that's so cool, man.
You got people that went to Vietnam, and then somebody from New York goes, "Yeah, but I'm from New York," and they go, "Oh, never mind."
Right.
Man.
Yeah.
So, what do you remember? What your back line was during the Rick James thing? I mean, was it walls of stuff, or were you still just playing combos, or? Because I don't remember.
Actually, it was like a boogie, a Mark V, I think, or a Mark. Whatever the boogie was at the time.
Probably a 3.
Mark 3, Mark 2.
Yeah, probably Mark 2 or something.
Yeah,
but I've been always a boogie guy, and
oh wow,
that's my amp, So
that is so cool, man.
That is. Now, I know this is Amps and Axes, but you're much more than a guitar player. You're a keyboardist. You're a composer, you're a producer. Had you been playing keyboards and guitar simultaneously? Were you a keyboardist at that time, just playing guitar, or did that come later?
It actually started. Played in college a bit. I'm not a great keyboard player by any means, but just enough to write.
Okay.
Yeah. So
cool. And so I would imagine that after the Rick James thing, did you go into more performance and live bands and touring, or did you kind of go start to get into studio and composing at that point?
Actually, when I left Rick, I went with New Edition.
Jesus.
Those guys, we did a tour with them, 2 tours or something like that with them. And then after that, I just kind of like needed a break, get away from the business and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just started, doing composing and stuff like that, and then I started getting into flying. I was actually doing a lot of flying lessons when I was out on tour with New Edition. And,
cool.
So that was a cool avenue to get distracted from.
Did you ever get your license?
Oh, yeah, I did. I got all my licenses. I got everything, my flight instructor, my airline transport pilot. And I actually wanted to go fly for the airlines. And I did get hired. We started off in ground school for about a week, and I said, no, I'm not into this, So I just went back.
Well, that's funny because you're the second guitarist, Gretchen Menn. She was a commercial airline pilot. And, her thing was, I heard in another interview, she said she felt guilty that there was people that really wanted to be pilots, and every time that they, got laid over or whatever, there she was with her classical guitar playing. And was like, what am I doing? Because there's other people that are qualified that want to do this.
And they can't play guitar.
And they can. And so but that's pretty wild, man. I guess that's a thing. I mean, Steve Morse, yourself, Gretchen, there's a bunch of people that I've heard now.
I have a couple of friends that have their licenses. Russ Clark has his. Lee Townsend has his. They're
wild.
pilots. Yeah.
Why the hell am I flying on United?
It's a fun outlet.
Wings.
It's really cool. I flew for an attorney for a while, and a guy who owned his software company. That was kind of adventurous, flying all over the States and stuff. But after a while, it gets like you're a taxi cab driver. And it's like you're up there for like a couple hours. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Looking out can get boring.
So what did you?
I used to. Sometimes I would do a trip, fly somebody up for this attorney up to like Northern California or something like that, and fly back. And just for the heck of it, I would shut down one engine and just see how it would fly, and then just get my kick like that, But just in case I ever had an emergency, what would it be like, So I set it down, feathered it, and restarted it again,
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
And your attorney.
I would say your passengers, no comment.
No, I never did it with any passengers.
Oh, okay.
I would never do that.
It'd be like Bill Murray in Stripes, I shouldn't have drank all that cough syrup this morning.
Yeah, but
that's funny as hell.
Yeah, good times,
Good times.
Got to keep it interesting.
For sure.
Well, after playing with Rick James, of course you do.
I left to get right boring.
Yeah.
Jesus, after coming off of that high, the road. What was it like when you came off the road? Did you feel like the earth stopped or something, or?
It did. You felt like, oh my God, what happened? It's like you were just. I had this constant buzz in my head. It was like really hard to like come down after touring. 6 months, 7 months. And nonstop going and partying and stuff like that. It took a while to come down.
And you guys were probably catered to the utmost. Right? I mean, you didn't have to lift a finger for much, and because I imagine at that level, Jeff, when he was at his top, I'm sure there was people coming out of the ceiling to make sure everybody was okay.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah, definitely. But it was definitely fun, recording and all that stuff. The band, I don't think, never got enough credit for some of the stuff we did, like, the albums. And I guess that's where a couple guys got frustrated and left, That's part of the music business, though, getting screwed.
yeah. Unfortunately, that seems to be the go-to move in the music business.
Not everything is totally fair, Not everything is totally, or at least totally fair the way some people see it.
Exactly.
There's three sides to every story, know.
Yeah,
exactly.
So.
But you just deal with it and go on.
It's so funny though. It's like when it comes to things like that, like you really don't ever think of any other occupations that really where you get screwed as the person that's delivering the goods.
Exactly.
It's like, I mean, if you're a bad actor, well, you're going to get paid accordingly. But if you're if you're Robert De Niro, your paycheck is going to reflect your name because of what you do. But it's like, oh, you're in Rick James's band? Well, we're going to...
Yeah, but then again, if you're De Niro, the supporting actors don't make what De Niro makes.
No, that's true.
But and that's kind of the hierarchy in a situation like that, I would assume.
I guess,
Tom, did he write most of this stuff, or was it co-written by the band, or were there other writers? Or?
Actually, the band did a lot. We really did a lot musically. Like I said, we never got credit for it. In fact, the bass player and I wrote Super Freak, the music, and then, we never got a dime for it.
Holy crap!
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm saying you got screwed. But we were young at the time, and it's like, this is cool. And,
well, you're getting, you're being treated like a king. I can imagine.
Right, that's of course that's never going to stop, and nobody stops to think about the the royalties, the mechanicals, the mailbox money. It's this is what it is, and that's where a lot of people wind up from start to finish, But
right.
Let me just tell you something about that song, okay? And I don't know if you remember this or not, Jeff, because you were working at the Baltimore Civic Center, which is now the Arena. Super Freak was actually in rotation on 98 Rock when it was out. It was actually an A rotation on a rock and roll
on the big
station.
Rock station.
Yeah. That's how big that song was. I mean, it actually infiltrated. And, this is the late, when did that song come out, Tom? Late 70s, early 80s?
Early 80s, 81,
okay.
82.
So, 98 Rock had been on the air since 77, so you think about 4 or 5 years. And that thing actually made rotation and stayed there in heavy rotation, which means, you'd hear it 3-4 times a day, depending upon, where you were. That's crazy for a rock and roll station.
Wow.
Yeah. I lived by the radio at that time, and 98 was it was the only thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, still, even at that time, music wasn't so fractured into 1,000 different categories.
No, not at all.
But
it was considered a disco tune, I guess. For that time, I guess, and but it actually made its way in because it was a cool tune.
Well, you know why it made its way in? Because it had a cool Tom McDermott guitar line.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what happened.
That's right.
Yeah, man.
Of course.
But yeah, that was a great album to do. And that tour took off. I think we were like number 2 behind the Stones.
Wow.
Touring wise, making money wise, that following year.
Good God.
It was definitely a lot of good times.
For sure.
And that, oh man, I can
So
see.
You needed the break, and then you settled back down into doing studio stuff, I guess, composing, recording.
I started back with doing jazz again. Had a friend of mine, Dave Smith, another guitar player, and we got a duo together, and we went just playing around Southern California, doing that. Got back into jazz again, and then. About 7 years ago, the guys in the band said, "Hey, man, you want to get together again?" And I go, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." So I went out and played, and I said, "Yeah, this is cool. Let's do it." So we're still playing out.
That's the Stone City Band, right?
Exactly right, Stone City Band. So we're still playing out Funk Fest and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun, but nothing like it was back in the day, you know.
Well, nothing is like it was back in the day, unless you're like in the top 1% of the performing echelon, which you guys were at that point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy that isn't, I guess, would be impersonating Rick. He's really good. I mean,
yeah, he is. He's a good.
I like watch videos and I go, I don't know what year this is from until I look down because it I mean, it's like him.
Yeah. He's really good at it. You know, really good.
Are you doing a lot of touring, or are you doing fly dates on the weekend, or what are you guys doing?
Fly dates. Basically, everything's a fly date.
Okay.
You know, and we have a back line. When we do go out. So I've been lucky. I've been pretty lucky to get a boogie. I've been using the Tech 21 as far as effects and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said I need something more. So I chopped out my pedal board to put it in a case that weighs like 35 pounds, so I'm able to carry it on planes. So I have something I could, you know, simulate my sound a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. And then you just you have backline on the rider when you get there. It's, you know, you're probably a Mesa of your choice.
Right. Yeah, boogie of my choice.
Cool.
That's pretty cool.
So you said you mentioned to get your sound. Is there anything particular, like one magic box or one thing like a phaser that, you know, from the 70s that you have to have all the time? What's your rig like now?
Basically, my rig like is I got an Eventide H9, a timeline, a SB compressor, RC booster, animal distortion, and a free the tone chorus. You know, just something more colorful, I guess, to make my sound more modern, I guess. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's basic, but you know, it's all you need.
Yeah, it is. You know.
And so, you're using because I've seen some of the videos. Of course, you're using what are they? They're Grover. They're the GJ2s, right?
Oh, the GJ2 guitars. Yeah.
That couldn't get any more confusing, by the way.
Yeah.
I got the GG. No, the G. I got the Grover Jackson.
Right. Yeah. But, and I'm playing the Nags also. So.
Oh.
Our good buddy Joe Nags. Yeah.
Nags, very nice.
Yeah, they make really nice guitars. Very nice guitars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
They are beautiful.
Yeah.
Joe Nags is one of those guys that when you look at those guitars, and they're not in music stores, like, you know, because they're very few numbers being made, so they're not,
and they're all sold.
And they're all sold. Yes,
right.
They are works of art, and not only that, they play absolutely amazing. I mean, Joe Nags is one of those guys. You know, he's one of those top tier builders. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely got the guitar. Boy, I'm really so happy with mine. I just picked up a Severin and love the sound of that. And they play, like you say, and they sound unbelievable, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make some beautiful stuff that, you know, it's a great piece of hardware, you know.
Yeah.
I have quite a few friends around here that, because we're just outside of Baltimore. We're in Maryland, so I have quite a few friends that have Nags.
Oh, cool. Have you ever taken a tour of the shop?
No, I've not been down to Southern Maryland to take a tour yet. No,
okay.
Have you?
No, I'd like to though.
Oh, okay.
We had Peter on, right, Jeff?
Peter Wolf, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we had him on.
Yeah.
He's a sweetheart.
And you know, we got to see him at NAMM 2 years ago, but Doug Rappaport was dominating at that moment, so we just kind of went, we'll just let him finish, and but this year we'll have to see him, so that'll be good.
Yeah, for sure. Tom, any plans on coming out to the East Coast on a fly weekend or something?
Possibly. They're working on some stuff. We're playing in San Diego at the end of the month, and but they're always working on stuff, So, but if I hear of anything, I'll definitely let you guys know.
Yeah, cool. Maybe we can let Joe and Peter know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
it would.
that shouldn't be a problem. Very cool. So, what are you doing in the studio end of things? Arranging, composing. What's going on there for you now?
I'm actually just writing. I have Pro Tools and just writing a bunch of stuff. That's pretty much about it. That keeps keeping me busy. Nothing really commercial-wise,
Okay. I mean, I did take a quick look at your discography before we got on here, and man, that it's pretty lengthy. Well, I'll just put it that way. You have been involved in lots and lots of recorded music in one way or another.
Yeah.
I mean, since like I think it started, the list started probably in '79. I think it was. Maybe it goes further back than that, but I think it started in '79. But man, it's quite a substantial list there.
Yeah. That's It's cool, I guess.
Well, you make a living at it, right?
Yeah, or try to.
Well. Yeah, don't we all? But it's
exactly.
it's very cool, man. That's wow. We're a couple of years short of you being in the business for 40 years. That's a hell of a thing, man.
Yeah, that is kind of a feat, isn't it? Wow.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It truly is.
Yeah. Interesting. I never thought of it that way.
And you survived all those crazy years. Imagine that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah, exactly.
And
there were a lot of crazy years. Yeah,
quite eloquently.
I could speak. I can walk. I can. Yeah.
You remember?
Still play.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Yeah, there's some musicians out there that you're like, no way.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great, man. What was I going to ask you? Studio. Any like have-to-haves in the studio for you? Whether it's Pro Tools 12 or whether it's this preamp or these plugins or and are you all virtual? Do you actually move some air when it's appropriate?
I'd love to move air, but. And the funny thing about that is when we did like a lot of Rick stuff, the distorted guitar stuff, that was all done through a Rockman.
Wow.
Everything.
Wow.
Yeah. I know. It's like he was never big on, let's get this amp here and try this Marshall or this Boogie. It was like, no, let's just go to the Rockman. That's it,
Holy crap.
And
wow.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Right?
Tom Schultz.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that was the first thing of its kind back then.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
It truly was.
Yeah, that you could actually plug in and get a sound that sounded. Well, I mean, it sounded like Tom Scholz a little bit, but it
right.
It emulated that thing.
But just back, listening to Rick and to Tom playing, I don't remember it sounding like a Tom Schultz track.
No.
It just didn't. So you must have known how to get what you wanted out of it.
Well, it's all in the fingers, Plus, we had a great engineer, so But today I'm using Apollo Twin and going through Bias. I have Pro Tools 12. So it's my setup is pretty basic.
Well, that's a really good preamp. And Bias makes, Bias now they have a head version, and they're even doing pedals now, which are crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the pedal, you can have it talk to the computer, and you can change the pedal. It's mind-boggling to me because it's so it has so much depth to it.
So it's one of those pedals that's software programmable.
Yeah, but you can add. So they have They have a couple pedals, I think, and I know if I'm wrong, somebody will let me know. But Leo from Frog Leap Studios, he did a demo. He had a distortion pedal that he got from them. Well, it's like 125 different distortion pedals, and you can program the pedal, or you can just run it right into the computer and just program from the computer, and then of course you can change it on the fly, and it's very, I mean, it's just crazy. And their bias amp, it looks like one of these little lunchbox amps, this head,
right?
And it's I think it's 600 watts or something. It's like a D-Cat, one of those amps in there, right?
Yeah.
And
D-Class, yeah.
Yeah, and it's got the basic knobs, but then with the computer, it's kind of crazy. You can sit there and manipulate what's inside of it and then assign it, and then you can run MIDI. So then, you can have a live rig with this thing and run to the board at the same time. It's sort of like the Kemper.
The Fractals.
Well, the Kemper has power. See, the Fractals, you have to get a power amp, but I think it's like direct competition with the Kemper more than the Fractal, because it has power, Cool. But their software, I heard, is really good. I use Amplitude 4.
Oh, wow.
By IK Multimedia, and they're all
right.
They've all kind of got it now. So it just depends what you're used to and what's on sale. That's how I look at it.
Well, I think there's something to do with compatibility. If you have to share tracks between studios, and how stuff gets recorded nowadays, man. I'm here and somebody's in Sweden, and
right.
Well, the VSTs, that's a VST. It's a virtual instrument. And, if they don't have it on their end, well, then they're not going to have anything. They're going to have your guitar track, but they're not going to have anything over top of it. So
yeah, it's all about compatibility.
Yeah. So Bias is one of the leaders, and, of course, IK Multimedia, they're big, and it's getting crazy, man. I mean, it is.
It is.
It's like you just need a laptop. You don't even need a computer that is sitting in your house. You can just have it in a bag. And the preamp, preamp is small, and the software is all there, and you can record stuff that, granted, all three of us agree, there's that organic thing that happens with the air, with the mic, with the placement of the mic, those little nuances that, the software has. It's kind of like X, Y, and Z, but you're not going to get that W in there that the analog thing just does. Whatever that thing is, it just happens, and no two rooms are the same. It's convenient. I think it's a very convenient thing, and you can record it any time during the day, and you're not going to disturb anybody. That's great. But when it comes to some of that, well, definitely all that stuff that we grew up with, it's very hard to reproduce that with a piece of software, I think.
It is. There's nothing like moving air to me. I'll definitely practice with an amp every time, as opposed to anything else.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or play. Yeah.
Tom, any new solo stuff that you're recording that you plan on releasing anytime soon?
Working on some stuff, but I don't know who's interested. I'll have to find out. There's always stuff I'm working on, and we'll see what happens.
Sure. Is it more in the jazz vein? That you kind of know and love.
I guess more of a rock and
cool.
More melodic, jazzy type of rock, I guess you could say.
Well, if you get any of that and you want to throw it over and let our listeners listen to it, you let me know. I'll definitely put it on a show.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and also the band and I we're working on trying to get some tracks finished for a little EP or something to get it out there. So cool. We'll let you know on that also. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And if you wind up in the Northeast anywhere, let us know. You know,
I definitely will.
Love to come by and say hi, and maybe we can tie in a Nags thing or something. You know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. That'd
cool.
be great.
Yeah, and Mick, remind me at the end. There's somebody who's a band who had a bunch of gear ripped off, and one of the pieces was an incredibly beautiful Nags.
Oh.
So
too many times we keep hearing that, man. But I'll remind you. One thing that I got to ask before we get off here, and I'm sure at some point you've heard this. If not, maybe you hear it more than you care to. Do you get anybody coming up to you, you guys, when you're out performing, or when you hear it? Does anybody yell out, "I'm Rick James, bitch"?
I'm Rick James, bitch. All the time.
All the time.
Yeah, somebody
Thank
knows
you,
I play
Chappelle.
Rick James, so yeah, I'm Rick James, bitch. It's like, yeah, I've heard that thousands of times.
Chappelle said that it was like a curse because
I bet
he did the skit, and then he's like at Disneyland, and these people were coming up, and he's got his kids and his wife, and they're going, "I'm Rick James, bitch," and running away. And he was like, "What the hell?" So he kind of bit himself doing that, but that was an interesting skit if you watch that, of course, and Rick is in there. And you could just tell that the drugs had taken their toll on Rick's brain.
Oh God, yeah.
I had personally heard similar in the dressing room back in the day, so he's real close.
Yeah. I mean, we all did a recreational type of stuff in the '80s,
Sure.
But he took it to another level. I mean, there was times when we would go to the record plant in Sausalito, and
oh, nice.
we get there, and the first 3 or 4 days where there was no Rick. He was in a room, with the pipe and a couple girls and stuff. So,
Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, it got the best of him.
Well, I got to give Adam Carolla credit for this, because I'm going to say this thing. During that time, that was pre-AIDS and mid-Coke, and you could not have been a better time, except for at that time.
Except for the morning after.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
exactly.
You got a monkey on your back, but you're having a blast.
Hell yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Oh, man.
But I digress. So, Tom, thank you so much for being on in the walk down memory lane, and
man.
Much continued success. I hope you keep playing and recording, and somebody picks up on the new stuff, and the Stone City thing comes out, and we can hear that. And like I said, if you're in the Northeast anywhere, let us know, man. We'll love to check it out.
Yeah, I definitely will. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's been a blast, man. Been a blast.
And make sure, Tom, if you have all your social media stuff, just send it over to me, because I want to make sure that it sits out there with your episode, and that episode will live in
perpetuity.
That's right, because we want to make sure everybody gets to hear these good stories.
Everybody gets to hear everybody. That's right. Cool, man.
All right, guys.
All right, Tom, thank you so very much. Have a great rest of the evening, and much continued success and happiness, my friend.
Okay, thank you. You too.
And there you have it, bitch.
You know what, man?
There's the short of it.
I'm sorry I had to go off on the Rick James stuff so much, but that is, that cat was so big. He was so huge during those years, man. And a lot of people don't know that. And,
he was big. I mean, he was touring with, like he said, like the second biggest touring act out in a couple of years there. Behind the Stones.
Yeah.
Ain't too shabby.
No, not shabby at all. And, it's a shame that, he got caught up in that lifestyle. Of course, the stories would not be there, I guess, if he hadn't got caught up in that lifestyle. I mean, ultimately took his life, But Tom, it was so funny because Tom, I corresponded back. Tom contacted us, and he said, "Hey, I know Grover Jackson," and I'm like, oh, cool, you know? And then he goes, yeah, I'm from Rick James's band. I'm like, well, hold on a minute. I'm like, we got to get you on. And he goes, I don't want your listeners to get bored. I'm like, are you insane? I'm like, come on, dude. And, you know, he finally agreed to it. And God bless him, man, because that is some cool stuff. And he... And, you know, he's put me in contact with Grover, and we're going to try to have Grover on the show in the future. So that's even cooler, you know?
That's cool. But, I mean, it's always great getting stories from people behind the scenes and people that, you know, like he said, you know, didn't get enough credit.
No.
You know?
No,
I mean, that was a driving band behind that front man, you know? And those... And
he wrote... Him and the bass player wrote Super Freak, man. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
I mean, cool. You know, people stole that song.
Mm-hmm.
MC Hammer.
Can't touch this.
Yeah. Is that insane, man? It's crazy.
And you know, Rick got the
got the royalties for that.
Got the royalties on that one, yeah.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah, man. So you were going to say something about some equipment being stolen. I hate these stories.
Yeah, and you know what? I will have to find the post that Matt put up and share it on the Amps and Axes site so it goes out there.
Yeah.
Matt and the boys from Cowboy Mouth.
Oh, get out of town.
Last Friday, I guess they played a gig.
Yeah.
Friday night, early Saturday morning, somebody broke into their trailer. The amount of stuff that got stolen is stupid, and his beautiful Nags was one of them.
Good God.
There's a whole list of guitars, whole list of stuff. So I'll see if I can find Matt's post and post it up on the Amps and Axes.
Do you know where they were, just so we could?
I don't remember offhand, but I know it's in the post.
Well, everybody,
what town they were in.
Go to ampsandaxescast.com. You can click on our social media there and go over to our Facebook. You'll see the post. You'll probably see it. This is going to come out later today, so you'll probably see it tomorrow. And you know, check it out if you're in that city. You know, start searching pawn shops because that's where it usually ends up.
Well, you know, it always comes out today.
Yes, that's true. I'm sorry. We're recording the same day we're releasing this week.
Yes.
We're doing one of the rare things that we haven't done for a long time.
Right.
It's called Catch and Release.
That's right, Catch and Release. So, yeah, I'll find that and I'll get that over.
Oh, yeah. And I just want to make this announcement. You guys have been so awesome, and you've driven up our numbers that we are going to now run some ads in our show.
Bring you a couple of products.
That's right.
Yeah,
and
we're going to bring you a couple of products.
If you share that with your friends and you click through that stuff and do the promo code, we will definitely keep the coal in the train to keep this mother going down the track, so we can bring you more guys like Tom.
Steaming along.
That's right,
Steaming
brother.
along.
Yeah, and
cool.
we got more ideas. We're crazy like that.
Yeah. Well, we're just crazy.
Exactly. So until next time, my friend.
That's right. I'm Jeff Bover.
That's right, and I'm Mick Marcelino.
You almost forgot who you were, didn't you?
And we're always saying,
onward.
Be sure and follow the show on Twitter at Amps and Axes. Also, make sure you like the show on Facebook. For news, comments, and everything else, visit the webpage, ampsandaxescast.com. Thanks for listening.